Right. Hi guys.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
We are we're joined today by Claudio. Actually, Claudio has invited Kim and I onto his Zoom. So yeah, Kim wants to talk about this particular alignment that's happening. It's supposed to be happening. Well, it's the 22nd where you are, Claudio, I think. Still, it's the 23rd here.
Yep.
With 12 hours difference, 14 for Kim. All right, Kim. So you want to tell us what's going on in this picture?
I want to have a cough first. One sec.
Kim, where are you from?
Oh, yeah. Australia, Brisbane.
Okay, I was going to say. Okay, cool.
But I'm not from here. I'm actually from the northeast of England, from Sunderland.
Okay.
But I've lived here for 40 years.
Cool.
So anyway, what I was talking about with this, I only did a tiny little bit of work towards it actually, because I've been really busy for days. So I don't remember how you, because I'm not at home. Right. So that one, I came across this, which is, there's a very rare cycle happening today. And the cycle pertains to Venus completing a sign. It goes around in a certain pattern, and it completes the sign today, and it only occurs once every 250 years. So it's about it returning to her first star point on the pentagram in Libra. And her pentagon 5.8 pattern is the golden mean ratio, hidden in the art in the Fibonacci ratios.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's very significant, and I'm not sure how significant this is. Claudio, you might have an insight onto this, but it says that at this time Venus will switch from being the morning star to the evening star. So it basically alternates between those two phases. Each time she conjuncts with the sun. And basically what that means is when you can see her in the morning or when you can see her in the evening.
I've got a question for Claudio. You're aware, everybody's aware of Crow 777, right? He is quite adamant that the star we know as Venus and the star we know as Mercury have been flipped. So we think we're looking at Venus when in fact we're looking at Mercury. And when we're looking at Mercury, or we think we're looking at Mercury, but we're actually looking at Venus. Now, he's asserted that many, many times. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the ancients call them certain words, which I call all words Babel words. They're trying to present a meaning. The fastest moving one we can call Venus, it's still going to be the traits of Mercury. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the fastest one is Mercury. The fastest planet is actually the moon. Well, the moon is the neutron, right? And the sun is the proton. So to me, it's if you can't switch the two, because the fastest moving one is still the fastest moving one. It still represents the one that does our Akashic record. The moon is the watchful eye of the mother, and Mercury is always there making the recording. It's the fastest one.
Right.
Picking up because it's the fastest one, so it can pick up the, it's like hitting an MP3 at remember the qualities of the MP3? Well, I wanted more samples per second. Well, Mercury's got the fastest sample per second outside of the moon. That's why that's why it's sampling, it's measuring what's in the waters. It all becomes simple physics. You can teach a kid, right? So if somebody wants to say one's one, one's the other, God bless. I don't care what you call it, but it's still the sampler. That one's sampling quicker, right? But looking at a chart and doing medical astrology, I can tell you that Venus is the traits of Venus, is Mercury is a trait of Mercury, 100%. See, Venus is in the shape of the Ankh, and she represents the female in the Mars Venus thing, right? Well, Eris, the mother, Madonna, is the Ankh, exact same thing, a circle with a cross with an arrow on the bottom. She's pointing to the point in the middle, right? Where no
Right,
thing
yeah.
exists, where stillness exists, where love exists, where the ether exists.
Mhm.
So Venus is Venus and she's the mini-me. So Kim, Eris does the exact same pattern as Venus,
Wow. I
except
didn't.
on a much grander scale.
Right.
Like, yes. So like I've
Okay.
plotted the last 5-6 Phoenix risings on where they end up on the map, and you can see them align. It's beautiful. So now you know that Venus is the mini me of Eris. It is the female in us because that's the mother, the female, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
at this point of the Phoenix rising, like you're talking about, does that align on a linear timeline with the events?
Right. So now this is really interesting. So by the way, I just pulled up the chart, and while we're talking, the exact alignment of Venus is happening right now with the sun.
Wow. Wow. So,
Yep.
so that chart that I was talking about at the beginning, that I'll go back to, is happening right now. Nope. I don't know how to do that. Now. There you go. That one. That's actually happening right now.
Wow.
Hang on a second.
Wow.
I'm gonna get back to that screen. Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
know.
stop
So,
sharing and give
so
the
think about
screen-
this. That
give the screen back to you.
so October 22nd means that alignment ends back when the Venus is back with the sun because it's aligned exactly right now and we're talking about it. There's a synchronicity. Okay. So this
Wow.
meaning came together and it's happening exactly at this time that we picked.
Wow.
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 Right. And so Venus is aligned the sun. So we're meant to be here. So we got to understand that we're meant to be here. It's beautiful.
All right.
Well,
So
that's what we were talking about. That's what we were talking about before Kim joined us. Was the script that you know that we're all living on. So yeah,
Right.
we're meant to be here having this this chat right now. Yeah.
I'm getting tingles. Oh,
I know.
I'm feeling like tingles right
Yeah.
through
I
me.
know, and it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. It's
Mm.
just invigorating. Right.
So with regards to this Venus thing that's happening today, in 3 days' time, there's a solar eclipse
Yes.
with Mercury and Venus involved, with Mars in the middle between the two.
And let me pull it up.
So does that relate in any way to what's happening today?
It's all related, right? But
Right.
so we have this eclipse, and then on the 8th we have a blood moon. So we're getting an eclipse 3 days after Venus finishes its cycle. Eris is now in 6 months' time. Where are you? Hang on a second. In 6 months' time, or April 15th, the mother of all mothers completes her cycle. There's 4 Phoenix risings per age. We're going into the age of Aquarius. So here you got Venus finishing her cycle. We're going to get that eclipse. And then on November 8th, we get a blood moon. In the Bible, it talks about the moon turning to blood red. Now, okay, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, we have blood moons all the time. I said, yes, but do we get Venus finishing, eclipse, blood moon, and then Phoenix rising? No, you don't.
No.
You don't get that. You don't get Revelation 12:1 all the time. So this is the blood moon. So now is November 8th is going to be interesting to see what people feel. But it's not everybody. It's in your chart. It's based on your chart. Everybody's natal is differently. So if you want to squash those amplitudes and you want to like, don't get be brave. November 8th is going to be good for me because my heart's been good. I'm attenuating the amplitudes of karma that are trying to get erased from John the Baptist pouring etheric waters on us, right? To forgive us of our karmic sine waves. A sine is a sin, right? Because when you make a vibration that's not good, it's going to come back to get you. That's what we were talking about. That's your script. You made the script. Nobody else. There's no they in our world. It's somebody giving us back our karma. Whatever we said before. I don't even like saying these things, right? Because I don't want it to come back to me. But whatever we said, whatever we didn't care about and didn't show love towards, it comes back next life and you're living that life, at least part of it. So I know, because I can
Isn't
see all the things that have happened to me. I'm going, oh, I get it now.
yeah, isn't November the 8th? Isn't that the midterms in the US? I know you're not in the US, but I think that's midterms. The date
What's
of the
that?
midterms.
What's that mean?
Midpoint of
November the
elections.
8th. November the 8th. It's the
It means
midterm elections in the US.
Oh, elections. Yeah, I don't follow politics because those guys don't mean
No, I
anything.
don't.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
I know you don't. I know you
don't.
don't either. But I'm just answering that. I don't follow politics, so I don't know what
Yeah,
day it
but
is.
Yeah.
I'm just making the connection between November the
Gotcha.
8th,
Yes.
the blood
So
moon, and the midterms.
we know that man tries to cover up or thinks that if he aligns with these things, that he's going to be king. But if they're doing it for non-loving ways, that does a complete turnaround on them. So I pray for them and I send them love. I send them love.
Wow.
We have to, because they're our brothers and our sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very interesting what we've lived through in the last kind of like
3 years,
3
yeah.
years now,
Right.
in relation to the amount of evolution that people have experienced on an individual basis.
Right.
Oh God, yeah.
So this is what a Phoenix rising brings. It brings a new sun. So 7 chakras of the rainbow, the 7 scorpions of Isis, the 7 plagues. We're getting, Eris has been in 558 years to come around from Pisces for the last time into Aries. That's the mother coming in. That's a Santa Claus story. Santa means saint and Claustrum, right? She's coming in.
Yeah.
So on
Just
April
excuse
15th,
me.
2023, she's here to stay with us. Mama's home.
Well, just excuse me for a minute. I've just got to pop to the bathroom. Hang on.
Yep.
So
you guys keep talking.
All right.
So you said the date 16th of April 2023, and before we started
15th,
to
yeah,
record, we were
15th.
oh, sorry, 15th. And before we started to record, we were talking about volcanoes. How does that relate to what you were saying about volcanoes?
It's in Revelation. Revelation
that
is
date.
called, yeah, Revelation is called the woman and the dragon. And it tells you right in the Bible that the dragons are the volcanoes. It spits poisonous gas. All the seas turn to red. Well, if the lava's sitting there in the water, of course it's going to look red, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the hail, and that's the Hail Mary, right? That's the volcanic gases condensing, forming rocks, coming down. They burn. It's a meteorite, because when we say, oh my God, all kinds of meteorites happen, you go look, there was a volcanic eruptions. It can be 7-10 days ago, stays up there and then comes down.
Yeah.
But what those hail come for is karma. If you're good, they won't come near you. If you're not good and you're still stuck to materialism, well, expect that material might get a little
bit hurt,
tested.
a little bit hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
A little bit tested. Yeah.
So everybody has they still got 6 months.
And then the other factor that we were talking about before as well was the fact that the size of the volcano, the size of the eruption, and the fact historically there are references to volcanoes exploding and blacking out the entire sky for like a year or something like that, which in turn creates the plague and creates the famine and creates all of that stuff that comes with it. But it's actually caused by the massive volcanic eruption and the soot in the sky and not clearing.
Right. Exactly. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is in one of our videos, but this is what I did a whole section on. It's called the Holy Grail. So here's the ice cores. So you can see, like you talked about Tambora, right? Tambora was right here. This is in the ice core. So Tambora was this big.
Yeah.
And then in 1465, okay, this was another volcanic eruption that was bigger. And it's the volcanic eruption that they can't find. All right. It's I have it somewhere here. But anyway.
What do you mean they can't find it?
They don't know which volcano it was, so it was probably probably under the sea.
Wow. Okay, so they don't have a record of what volcano it was.
Right. So there's all kinds of people know that it's right here that it happened in 1465, and all kinds of people say there was some political dignitary that got married, and it's on record that he said when we got married, they seen the sun turn blue. Well, it's a Phoenix rising. So what's blue do to you? What's that color? So don't forget, the ash is cleansing you too. It's filtering out the materialism. And what's because it's a red, right? Red volcanic ash is going to act like a filter. And what's going to come through is blue.
Blue.
And what does blue do to you? Makes you more loving, makes you more kind. We're going to get induced by love.
Communicate.
So
Communicate
physics equals
better.
metaphysics, as above, so below. It's going to be beautiful. Now, the ride from here as we walk, right now, the sun is in Libra. Libra is the weighing of the heart. Everybody knows that Libra is balance, but it's not balance of what? Well, on the Egyptian walls, it's the weighing of the heart. Anubis is holding on to your hand while your heart's being weighed against a feather, and Ammit, the crocodile, is sitting there. And if your heart's not as light as a feather, it gets eaten. And that's the symbol of you coming back, right?
Wow.
So it's a really beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. So here it is right here.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
So
So this is right here, right? So here's the scene.
Did you say the crocodile eats you there?
The crocodile will eat your heart. That's what they're telling you. In other words, you're going to come back and try again, right?
So is that tied into Hook as well? Tied into like Hook and the crocodile, and you know the story of Hook with Peter Pan.
Oh yeah. So you know what? I never really watched that whole movie, but I know of it, Peter Pan.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Well. Yeah. So Peter Pan's got the crocodile, and the crocodile eats Hook. I think.
Nice.
Right.
So what happens is once we pass the test. Yeah, I'm gonna hang on. I have it on a different slide, I think. Yeah, it was a different video that I made, sorry, but it's the same image. I'll just move this one to the front. So when you pass the weighing of the heart, here's Horus, the all-seeing eye. You now take the stand. You now are sitting on the throne. That represents infinite lives coming in and out, okay? So this is a misinterpretation of a king. No, you get to be the king of your world. Everything around you will change. You part your own waters. It's just hard as light as a feather. You graduate. You now have what's called the crook and the flail. Okay, crook and flail. That means self-harvest. Those are the tools for harvesting wheat.
Yeah.
Right. And where is the weighing of the heart ceremony? It's exactly at 0 point Libra, where Spica is. And Spica is the grain of wheat. There's both Marys. There's Juno or Mary Magdalene or Nephthys. Here's Mary, Virgin Mary, okay, with the throne. That's Eris, the goddess of discord and strife. That's why it's called an ephemeris. All the data in the sky is called, it's tracked on an ephemeris, because why is it called the ephemeris? Because it's a Greek word, and they called it the Greek goddess Eris, which is the goddess of discord and strife, because when she comes, people cleanse and they get mad. You're taking all my material objects away from me. You want me to be loving. Right. So you are now in charge. Here's Horus, the all-seeing eye, granting you the feather because you passed. And here you are. Now you're like Orion. Okay, so now if you go over to looking at the Dendrozodiac, sorry, like I said, this is from a different presentation. Orion's right here. Let me try to bring it to the front. You see Orion, and he's got the crook and the flail over his arm, but he's also carrying the waz stick because he's leading people to the Phoenix Rising. Because this is the Bennu bird, right? That's the Bennu bird, which is the great blue heron.
Wow.
You get to carry that stick and bring yourself towards the Phoenix Rising.
Wow.
How do you do that? Pass the weighing of the heart. That's it. It's simple. I've
got something that I'm going to be talking about in a podcast with Harry tomorrow. But there's a couple of slides that I'd like your opinion on, Claudio, because it kind of ties in with what I think with what you're saying. So if you want to hand it over to me so I can share the screen.
Yep. Yeah, it should be open. I think I already did that. Yep.
Okay, hang on. Let me just find the slides that I want to share. Because it's all part of a huge fucking ritual. And I really think that you might be able to shed some light on what I'm going to show you. Right, hang on. Get out of that. Right. Okay, let me share the screen. Now, what we're looking at is September the 8th, right? The Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, September the 8th, that was the date that we're told the Queen died. The Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, look at this. This is a painting of supposed to be the Virgin Mary in her coffin. And if you look down here, you see this guy. This is an angel, and he's chopped both this guy's hands off. The reason being because this guy didn't believe that Virgin Mary was dead, and he wanted to check. So this guy cuts his hands off. Man arrested after touching Queen Elizabeth's coffin.
They're playing what's happening in the stars.
Yeah.
But in reverse, though.
Gets arrested.
In reverse, because
Right.
ISIS. Okay, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So he stepped off the carpet, and he grabbed hold of the royal standard flag draped over the coffin with both of his hands. Both of his hands were chopped off. Right. So this is clearly a ritual. Man who appeared to grab flag draped over Queen's coffin did not believe she was dead. This guy did not believe Mary Magdalene was dead. Can you see the ritual?
Yes, but it's in reverse. Let me tell you why. So the story of Isis is she goes to the underworld. So when you lie down in the coffin, she's saying, Mama's gone. Okay? Because Isis goes to the underworld. In other words, she's gone down now. She's come out of Aries. She's heading to the underworld. She's going all the way down into Pisces, and they'll come back in again. It's a cycle. So that's the story of Isis going to the underworld, and then she comes back. In the sky, exactly the same thing. You can't track her. That's why the Vatican's got the biggest telescopes in the world, because they want to find her again. Because when she comes back, that's why they have an ephemeris. We got to try to find what cycle of Saros are we on, because there's 30 cycles of the Saros cycle before we get to a Phoenix rising. That's why there's clay tablets on the Saros cycles. They want to find her again. So Isis goes to the underworld. She's not visible in the sky anymore. Then when she comes for a Phoenix rising, she becomes visible again. And now you've got your global warming because the sun's getting brighter. Right, the sun's getting brighter. So they're playing that whole part. But the problem is they're doing it backwards. And the thing is that everybody, see, they think that they can keep pulling the wool over people's eyes, but they can't.
Yeah.
It's a perfect system. It works exact same way as inducing a lump of iron to become magnetic. We're being induced, and it comes from the inside. You can wear a tin hat, you can do whatever you want. You're going to be loving everyone. No choice. Because they'll get karma. They can have pretend armies all they want, because they can't. What are they going to do when a million bees come at them? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's it. There's all these songs out there as well about like the sun coming back, or here comes the sun. And if you read the lyrics of all of these songs, it's like people running around loving each other because the sun's come back or something. But there's loads and loads and loads of sun-centered songs. And the same thing, everybody running around and happy smiling faces and things, you know.
Right. So think about this. First of all, the volcanic ash would make fertile soil.
Yeah.
Second thing, that blue light comes and induces us to be loving. We're going to be at a standstill where everybody's got to help each other. And we got to rebuild. Now, the Bible shouldn't be a book because it doesn't close. It's a circle. The Dendra Zodiac is the misinterpretations of all the Bibles. We've done the whole chronology back. All right. Yeah. After Revelation comes Genesis. Genesis means we're rebuilding. Now, Mother Nature takes domain. So the people that are out there that think that they can continue to do the things they do with animals, that's coming to a grinding halt. Grinding halt, because Mother Nature will restore this with love, with or without you. So it must be the weighing of the heart. It has to be.
So it's that, because I've got like a kind of theory about vibration that you and I could be in the same room and have a completely different experience of a reality because of where we're at in vibration, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the same thing about this event that you're talking about on the 15th of April, 2023, which is two people could be in the same room and have a completely different experience of it.
Based on
And
where
they
they're at with
can-
their karma.
Right.
But you got to remember this, you're in that room with that person for a reason.
Yeah.
They're part of your path.
Yeah.
So if they experience something that you got to witness that wasn't good, that's a test for you if you're going to help them. And of
Yeah.
course you will. So that's what we got to understand. There is no they.
Yeah, I
Mm,
get
I
that.
Sooner that we can get over that experience
that.
happened to me that I'm not liking, and it keeps
Yeah.
happening to me, and it's that person.
Mm.
And then people will even go as far as, well, no, but I had to do that for them because it's in their path. I'm going, okay, you can think that way, but be careful. As long as they left loving and happy, and it was a good picture, then you're okay. Then you pass the test.
So that's
I
my
don't.
concept. That's my concept with we, me, that the letters we, and then me, and me is a reflection of we, which is a reflection of me, which is,
Yeah.
and it always goes backwards and forwards. So you got something going on in your life, somebody's making you really angry, stand aside from it and go, whoa, why is that making me angry? Because it actually comes back to personal.
Mm.
It's actually your fault.
Yes.
It's perception. It's perception. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's no coincidence, Claudio. I just thought that date, April 15, can be written as 415. 3.1415. 3.1415. It's pi, isn't it? 415. I don't know. Just popped into my head.
Yeah, it's who knows, right?
So can you tell us a little bit more about that date, Claudio, about the date of April the 15th? What's actually occurring at that time, and what are the influences occurring in your perception?
Right. Again, it's every one of our chakras are being cleansed. So we're gonna that's why people are feeling, that's why they're writing that's that 5-letter C word, right? But it's a corona chakra cleanse starting from up here, and it lights up the whole body, right? It says, no, I'm going to cleanse now. I'm done that spiritual path of being with the least amount of love in the Piscean age. Okay, we're redshifted, we're materialists. Okay, so that means we have to let go of material items. I mean, don't sell your house and go sleep out in the street. No, I don't mean that. But don't be attached to it, because what's real?
Yeah.
How can you be attached to it, right? So this whole process is about detaching from this being me, material being yours, my soul. No, you don't own the soul. It's the soul having the experience as a human.
Yeah.
So this
soul
whole thing
owns you, basically.
Right. So it's about the revelation of that. That's what revelation is. It's bringing us to there.
So the reason that we're experiencing what we're experiencing, so if we can face all the fears. So like imagine losing your house, where are you going to sleep, what are you going to do? Okay, well, there's a park bench down the end of the street, I could sleep on that if it came to that. I don't need to be frightened of losing my house. That type of, all the fears that are coming to us, or all that externalization is there, so you can face those fears, so you can bring your heart to where it needs to be in relation to the acceptance that there is no them and us. There is only experience, which is experience, which is external stance.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You get it.
When it's external, then you look at it and it's out there. I mean, it's really hard to dignify it or interpret it, because it isn't a direct reflection. It's not exact. It's not an exact match for what your experience is. So you need to go deeper and get inside of yourself and work out why you're frightened of that event carrying. Why am I frightened of that?
Right.
What's
So
scary?
What I say to people is, you can get rid of the 4-letter F word, the FEAR, because you're infinite. You're infinite, and as soon as you realize that you're infinite, and it's all about the art of transmigration, like I was telling Nigel, that's written on the Egyptian walls.
Yeah.
Transmigration, and the fact that the more loving you are, because we're not perfect, we'll be back. We'll be back.
Well,
We're
this-
infinite. Who
this whole-
cares? But
yeah, this whole realm runs on fear and love. They're
Right.
polar opposites of each other,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
You're either
Mhm.
you're either a loving person
or a
you're
not
a
loving
fearful
person. Right.
Huh?
Yeah. I
You-
call
what I was
it
gonna say,
love
oh,
and
you're-
lack of love, because I like using just
Yeah.
the same word, love, right?
Yeah.
Love and lack of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Love and lack
But
of
a
love, yeah.
lot of people are fearful. They live in fear 100% of the time.
Right.
Whether it's fear of the C word, whether it's fear of not having enough money, whether it's fear of losing your job. So
Right.
many people have lost their jobs over this nonsense. But yeah, it's one or the other. You know what I mean?
Right.
And finding that middle path, that balance. The 6 o'clock, you know, we Harry and I talked about this in a podcast not so long ago, that if you look at any time on a clock where the two numbers are opposite each other, like, you know, 25 past 11 or whatever, the only time that the hands are perfectly straight is at 6 o'clock, right? On all the other opposites, they're never perfectly straight, always just off, just by a little smidge. But at 6 o'clock, yeah, middle path, right there.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Claudio, the other thing that I was going to ask you about was, do you see Horus as ours? And do you
Yes.
see ours as the satanic trap of us being trapped in time, or our perception of being trapped in time, as
Right, so-
against celestial? If we have a celestial perception, then it would be natural. But instead it's unnatural as it's tapped in time. It's because it's Horus, it's ours.
Right.
It's ours as well. Oh, well, you know, take the H off and it's our perception.
Exactly. So,
It's
but
like
don't
centralized.
forget the H, which is the 8th letter. Okay, there's synchronicities in the letters. The letters of the alpha beta. Each letter is a symbol off of the Egyptian walls. Okay, they've stemmed from there, because as we get understanding, somebody might draw it differently, but it has the root meaning. The H is the 8th letter. The H is the throne. They used to sit for birthing on a seat. That's how you came in and out. So when you're sitting on the throne on the Egyptian walls, you've now mastered your ins and outs. You've been handed the all-seeing eye. You've been handed the crook and the flail. And then as you graduate, you start leading forth the Mazzaroth through the ages in the Bible. That's Orion. So Horus has now become Orion, right? Horus is all the different U's going around the zodiac, right? Horus hours. Right? That's why there's hours on the clock. No, that's Horus going around the circle, which we now make a watch. But that watch is, of course, time, and it's all related.
And then the word watch.
Yeah.
Then the word watch and watch.
Watch.
Well,
Right.
well, look, I mean, how they corrupt everything. I mean, you know, you're talking about a crook, yeah? Well, a crook is a criminal.
Yeah.
Really?
How about this one? Ready for this one? When something happens to you physically, it's called an injury. Well, because you're in jury. You're in jury. You're under karma.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's look at
it's all there. It's all there.
I've taken the they away, because when we dropped into from the Aryan age back into the Piscean age, we lose consciousness. We lose our Christ consciousness. We go right into the boom, the hell, whatever you want to call it. So now we can't read the Egyptian walls. We left those messages there for us.
Ourselves, yeah.
So it's just like there's a movie out there, but I can't find a movie. Somebody told me about it. The guy opens up his gas can and he puts a letter in there, a message, and he closes his gas cap because he always gets Alzheimer's. So when and he can't find his way home, when he runs out of gas, when he opens up the cap, he sees the message from himself. That's the Egyptian walls. Think about it.
Wow.
If you wanted to put something that lasted for 2,000 years, because we're going to go through the Piscean age, how would you do it? You'd put it in rock. But how do you put spiritual messages in rock? They're going to look material. Then we go read them and we take them literally as material. I just got to do this and I'm king, man. No, you might be king for a while, king for a day.
Yeah.
Well,
one day is one zodiac sign.
that brings me back to that little message that I sent you yesterday, Kim. If you look at the word created, right? Created, remove the R and replace it with a H, and you get cheated. You've only got to move. You've only got to substitute one letter
right
out of that, what, 6-letter word.
right
And look what you've gone. You've gone from being created to being cheated.
Cheated. And that's the reality of it.
Yeah, that is the reality of it. Definitely.
Exactly.
You know,
you go off and create something and it's a bit disappointing. You feel
and sorry, R, you're going from H, which is the 8th letter, to R, which is the 18th, which is just 6 + 6 + 6. It's all there in
it's there.
plain
The alpha
sight.
beta fits beautifully around the zodiac in the right place. The I and the J are there at Scorpio. The I has the dot on top of it, doesn't it? So does the J.
Yeah.
The J is the hook, looks like the phallus. It rides over Scorpio.
Yeah.
Okay, the alpha, which is the 1 and the 0, which when you put those two together, you can see the ba carrying it, or the ka carrying for the ba. I can't remember those are Babel words, but he's flying over top of the guy, the mummified body over there, going to bring him spirit. That's the alpha, which is the 0 and the 1, the first 3 numbers of the 0, 1, and 1 is so the 1 is sitting on the bed. That's you waiting for your soul. So that's a 0, 1, 1. The 0, 1, right? And they call that the Shen. But if you tell them that's what it is, they go, no, it can't be. Well, no, it is. Okay, so that's why the alpha is over there at Aries. The circle of 60, you just put 0 there at the beginning. It's 0, 1, 1. It goes all the way in, and it's 60 repeating numbers, and they all line up beautifully. They're beautiful. It's perfect.
Well, while we're talking about letters, I was listening to allegedly Dave yesterday, Dave Murphy. I love some of the stuff that he talks about.
Me too.
And he was saying that he was talking about the L, you know, the EL, as in the God, the Elohim. He said there's no letter E in Hebrew, right? It's more like there's basically no vowels in Hebrew, but there is a letter A. And I forget how he actually said that the pronunciation of that A is, but the A and the L together are spoken as Allah.
Allah, okay.
Allah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know, you can also say ALLAH is arm, leg, arm, head. Yeah, there's your Allah. But I thought it was fascinating that, you know, he was basically saying that the L, as in the Elohim, are not. It doesn't mean God or godly. It has a completely different meaning. You know, he's talking about them being the Elohim in the Bible actually being the fallen angels. And he's got a lot of research to back that up. But again, I just thought it was interesting, you know, how we're talking about how words have been changed and distorted, and
because we put glyphs together so we could vocalize them, because we lost our ability to communicate up here. So we had to start using the voice, right? You go from head to voice. What? Because mama goes from here to there, right? So now watch this.
That's where you get the the Tower of Babel.
You got the 0, 1 on this side, which is the alpha. When you wrap the letters around, it comes over here. It's just the L. And then the M and N in the middle, and then you get the omega. So now you can see the 1 is separated from the 0 before we go into the underworld. It's all there. And what's the symbol of Libra? It's a line with the circle going over top of it, right? It's the sun setting. It's the omega. It's the 0 combining back with the 1, or splitting from the 1. So the alpha beta is the exact story of the Dendera zodiac. We put them together so we could vocalize and create images in our mind. Well, now, and then it just got, of course, over 2,000 years, we got a little confused. So there's no one to blame. It's an experience by design. It's our human experience for us to realize that we cannot live without love. And now love comes back. Mama reels us in and going, and okay, kids, be loving again. You got no choice. We have no choice. We're getting zapped.
You've got the 0 and the 1 of the binary language, which is which is actually the language of the AI.
Mhm.
And the AI is the contrary to love, because if we spend too much time in the AI, it's artificial.
Right.
It's not.
Well,
That's materialism.
you know,
It's materialism.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I've mentioned this a few times in my podcast with Harry, that the word in Chinese for love is I, but it's written AI
Mm.
you know,
It's really
if you
weird
use
that.
That's
if you
cool.
use the English alphabet, it's called pinyin, where you know we instead of looking at the characters that we haven't got a clue what they are, you use the English alphabet. And you know, when I was a kid, and Kim grew up in the UK as well, you drive past a church and it always said God is love. Well, again, in the Greek language, there's about eight different words for love, because you love your parents in a different way that you love your
Dog.
kids or your dog. You know what I mean?
Ah,
Um, so and you love your best friend in that's a different kind of love. And it ends up that the highest one, I think, is eros, and that's where we get erotic in the English language.
And that's the
Um,
highest one. I would have thought that was the lowest one.
well, I think it's the most powerful one, is what I mean. But again, interesting that you have this God is love in the UK, and here in China it's AI. I'm telling you that, you know, the god of this realm is AI. Yeah,
Is AI.
yeah. And Kim, you won't know this, but Claudio was also, he's born the same year that you and I were. He's actually
Really?
2 days younger than me. Yeah, Kim's the same. We're all year of the ox.
so we're all
Yeah.
we're all Virgos. Perfect.
Well, Libra, aren't we supposed to be Libra?
No, that's if you do that. If you do the astrology that we lost our way on.
Oh,
This
right.
is
Okay. Yeah, I've always thought that.
after see
Yeah.
that the seasons aligned with the stars, and as we lost our consciousness, we kept
It moved.
the seasons aligned with the sun only. That's materialism. If you try to keep that, you'll get further and further away from the truth.
Yeah.
I do medical
Well,
astrology now. It's so easy. It's very easy to do medical astrology. Okay.
well, they confused us with the calendar, because we know that really January is the 11th month, February is the 12th month, March would be the 13th month, and April would be the first month. That's why we have April Fool's Day, because it's the first day of spring. So they confused us with that. So if they're telling us that Oct, which means 8, October, and they're telling us it's 10, then I've always said, well, hang on a minute, I've grown up believing that I'm a Libra. But if they screwed around with the calendars the way that they have,
No, that
then
they
we're
did,
be...
and we lost our consciousness. Now,
Yeah.
there's people out there that found the truth, but they decided not to tell us. That's all. That's all.
Right.
Because
so
they don't want to tell you, because they're addicted to money, because they're in the Piscean age, because they're up and
Yeah.
down your whole street. Those same personalities are everywhere. Now it's
So
time to let go.
So you're saying then that anybody who thinks they're a Libra is actually a Virgo?
Nope, because it's 23
Same.
degrees off. So there's a 7 out of 30 chance that you're still a Libra, because if you were born at the end of Libra, when you pull it back by 23 degrees, you'll be at 7-degree Libra still. But there's a totally different effect, because as the sun is closer to 0 point Libra, that's at the beginning of harvest. That's where Ceres sits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right. And that plays a big factor in what medical astrology brings.
Right. So why did you just say that we're Virgo then?
Because we are, because we were born at a point where we come forward and we're into Virgo. Not that we come forward, there's a difference by that much. We're exactly where the stars were in the sky.
Right.
So if you go grab a tropical chart and go say, where is the moon right now? And you lift it up and look, That's how I first learned. And I was learning from this beautiful girl, and I still give her credit because I learned a lot from her. But when she said, yeah, tonight the moon's in Libra, I grab my app and I go inside. I say, shit, it's Virgo. I don't get it. So I says, I don't know if there's something wrong with my app, but it says it's in Virgo. She goes, oh, now you're going to look in the sky? And I said, and I didn't understand that. And then every time I started asking her questions, because I just don't understand that. I says, because I mean, I'm a little bit of a technical guy, but if I shine a flashlight in your eyes, you're going to blink. If I shine it 23 degrees away, you won't. So energy just doesn't work that way. The tropical is the house system, which doesn't move. That's why 0 point Aries and 0 point Libra, they're there. And that's the house system. And the lands are mapped to the zodiac. So that house system is the natal earth. And that's the tropical system, but the precession moves that. And if you don't follow that, you're going to lose your way.
Yeah.
Right. And so let's show you.
Even way.
You follow the seasons of
like
the sun, or you want to
away.
follow the seasons of the stars. It's a clock within a clock.
Yeah.
Materialism doesn't let you see. So now we're on the weighing of the heart. You got to keep an open mind when somebody says something to me. When somebody says something to me, I write it down and I go research it to see if it fits. Yeah. That's how you get to where you're going. But if somebody doesn't want to see, that's the ego. No, my way is the only right way. You can't tell me that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to. I'm okay with that. I still love you. You're going to be fine. You're infinite. But I just want to try to, show you something that we've learned. And if you don't want to look at it, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Get it.
Here's the thing. It's all about karma. You don't need astrology to get your signs. They're all around you. Life is a sign. It's it's trying to direct you to one love. So you could go to a person that has no clue whatsoever how to read a chart and still get the same message you'd get from somebody who doesn't do it a little bit differently, because it's your karma. But to show people the magic of what happens with medical astrology, like I told my buddy, he didn't do anything. I said, because he said, I'm going home, watch that UFC fighting. I said, I'll tell you what, if there's a guy that's fighting that you want me to go look, because he says that he knocks everybody out, give me the 2 names. I'll let you know what time he gets knocked out. I'm serious. I've done many people passing out, seizures, all that. I've done dogs.
Really?
So it's there. The script is there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's there. But what do you do with it now? That's why all these signs are going to start coming to go, okay, now all you doubting Thomases, it's over. Which is beautiful, but we got to show love along the way.
Okay, so technically between now and the 15th of April, do we have an expectation that time will speed up in that period? Because I was always given to the understanding that in order for us to get it, things would happen more and more and more and more frequently, like it would become denser. More opportunity for us to learn, like boom, 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 lesson, 6 lessons in one day, whereas 10 years ago we were only doing 1.
Right.
If that, yeah.
So I'm going to say the best way I can answer that is it all depends on the individual. Right. If you're doing the same thing day in, day out, feels like time's passed you by because you got no memories.
Well, my own experience of that, and with the lessons that you're talking about, Kim, is that I think the more, how can I explain this? I think the more you understand, the more you get it, the more you're given, right? Because, if all the knowledge that we have, each of us now, all came to us in one day, we would have totally freaked out. We wouldn't have been able to handle it, right? And I think the more that we understand, and the more we get our heads around what this reality is, I think the more information is presented to us, because right, we'll give him that now because he can handle it. We'll give Kim that now because she can handle it, kind of thing. Now, not the clearest way of explaining it, but that's been my own experience.
Makes sense.
I mean, there's no point in giving a maths equation to a 4-year-old. because they
No,
wouldn't be
that's
able to
right.
understand it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's like you won't be given it until you can understand it. But if you're not getting it, then it means you're going to be full on in the chaos. You're going to be absolutely full on in the chaos the more that you don't get it. And I think one of the key reasons you may not get it could be because you're still in the mindset of the them and us.
It's really this
person's
simple.
doing it to me.
It's really this simple. Only love turns us, opens us up. And a friend, Tammy Malash, she said the other day, you know what? This is the first eye, not the third eye.
Yeah.
Makes sense. This is the first
Yeah.
eye. So love is the only thing that'll open us up. Okay, because that's pure. And the more and more you love, the more and more, like you said, the more and more all that law of attraction, all that loving stuff comes in front of you and it starts coming together. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard to find it.
Yeah.
Because we've had such harsh lives where we've experienced so much lack of love.
Yes.
That if we're in that place of experiencing lack of love, we've completely forgotten how to experience love or how to give it unconditionally or how to be that, you know?
Right. So it just starts one day at a time, one lesson at a time.
And it's like, if I've got a judgment of somebody or something, I think, wow, that was the judgment. Why is that still there?
That's revelation. That's part of revelation. You're realizing what the self is doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Nigel.
No, I did that all the time. You know, I'll be, I don't know, out and about somewhere and I'll see some guy alone in his car with a face diaper on, and I just look and I think, you bloody idiot. And then a little voice goes, don't judge. Right. He's happy. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I feel my heart feels for them. My heart feels for them because their lack of bravery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if they realized that they were infinite, they'd take it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a video one time of a woman walking down the street, her dog taking a shit. She uses the face diaper to pick up the shit, puts it in the bin, and then puts the face diaper back on her face.
Oh God.
No, really.
Just another test of love. It's just another test of love. Because if you witness it, right, like she did, she saw it. Now she's telling us that test has now moved forward to us and how we react.
Yeah.
So I just laugh and say, okay, I can realize a test when I see one. It's everything is a test.
No, I was going to say a quote. I can't remember who it was by, but it said, "You're born with three eyes, two with which to look, and one with which to see." And I thought that was quite profound. Yeah.
And the sea is the sea, right? El mare. What's the sea in Italian is mare, and mare means Mary, and Mary is from the sea. She's from right.
Yeah, it's mer in French. That's why we have words such as merchandise and
what about murder? What about murder? Why is that C? Murder.
Well, probably because
I don't know.
Okay, so every time Isis comes back, Mary comes back, McTucklewaddle, White Buffalo Calf Woman, whatever you want to call her, because the winged woman is called something in every culture. That's what's bringing us back together, because everybody knows that winged woman. When she comes back, people exit. She's called Eris, the goddess of discord and strife, by the 7 scorpions of Isis. So people are leaving. Oh my God, everybody's getting murdered. So if it's somehow that's related to Mary, probably, of course. There's people that actually despise hearing that word, calling them names. And I'm going like, oh boy, oh boy, careful, careful, careful.
Wow.
Right.
Well, words are spells, aren't they? That's why we learn to spell when we write, and writing is a ritual. It's just full of nastiness, basically. I mean,
right, because we've taken all those beautiful glyphs, we've misunderstood them, and now they create images. They should only create good images.
Well,
The best advice while you're on the weighing of the heart, make sure all the images that you allow in are pure. Make sure all
this
the
all this all comes back to the Tower of Babel. Let's go down and confuse their language, because I really think that back then it was all, you know, like oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like telepathic or whatever
we lost it.
word you want to use.
Yep.
Yeah, we
We lost it. We lost it. So now then we just screwed it. We screwed it up. Not they.
Screwed up.
We screwed it up because it's an experience of lack of love. With lack of love, we screw things up.
Well, they, you know, the ubiquitous they are just the ones that have taken it. We screwed up. They're the ones taking advantage. I mean, you know, they is an acronym for the hierarchy enslaving you.
Right. Okay. But let me ask this question.
Do you feel enslaved?
Right.
I personally, I don't know, but
so what?
I didn't mean to say I don't know. No, I don't feel enslaved, but the system is designed to enslave,
make you feel like you are.
Yeah.
Or
again, it's just another illusion.
Or is right, because it's delivering karma to certain people, because some people under this whole thing don't even feel it. They don't watch it, they don't feel it. So when you get out of the karma now and you let go of that they and you forget about it, it just drifts away.
Yeah.
Like once you go there, you start parting your own, you become Moses parting your own waters. All the traffic lights are green, you pull in, and the parking, the first pot comes open and you pull right in.
So I was watching, like you saying, and both of us have been watching Dave Murphy's channel the last few days, and he's got one called Navigating the Matrix, part 1 and part 2. And in one of those, he's talking about communicating in glyphs rather than communicating in language. And he's talking about how, excuse me, got a cough from somewhere. I don't know where I picked that up from. He's talking about navigating the language, and he's talking about how this particular realm, they've made us navigate in terms of words, spelling, and how descriptive glyphs can be as against language, and how language lacks so much. Sorry.
Well, they say signs and symbols rule the world, not words or laws. And that is I think that is attributed to Confucius, who just another one of those guys that never existed, but that doesn't really matter. Signs and symbols rule the world, not words or laws. Yeah, perfectly true. Yeah.
So if you follow back all the languages, they go back to Egypt. Every single one of them. Every single one of them go back to Egypt, and then misinterpretations of the glyphs on the walls. So, like you said, but Spirit's already got that covered. Are we not using emoji?
Yeah.
I know.
We're already starting to learn to go back to glyphs.
I know. I was thinking about that too. That emoji thing is huge now.
So
you can express so much.
Now we're going to be putting storyboard. I mean, you can put. I do it all the time. I send people sometimes when they don't, without them knowing. I just send them. I send them a heart, a scale, and a feather. Their soul will pick it up. Your heart's got to be as light as a feather. So it's there. We can go back there immediately. So now that's why the E is not an E. That's the Fibonacci spiral. Eve, Adam and Eve, you got 2 Fibonacci spirals which come out and create a field. And then the V is the vortex, which is Eris, the Ankh, V in the bottom. The way back, to point to the middle where there is no materialism, pure love, the ether, God is everywhere. Right. So that E is not an E. It's a Fibonacci spiral. You go look at on the Dendrozodiac, you'll see them. They're little Fibonacci spirals. They're not E's. Right. They got feathers. So I'm trying to, and it's like, I'm being gifted by being, so next thing you know, somebody will say something or somebody will say something. So the more and more of us start looking at what we left behind, just go stare at it. Go stare at the Dendra Zodiac. If you don't have a copy, go udemy.com/Dendra. and I got a really high resolution one there. Just stare at that wall, because we left those images for us. It's you going to the gas cap and trying to read again what you left for yourself.
And not only that, the whole internet and the pool of that, and that the fact that the three of us could get together and talk, even though we live like 12 hours apart from each other or something. And
Collective
then
consciousness.
from that conversation comes a whole other million conversations that stem off from that and stem off from that and stem off from that. And it's like ripples of the wave, you know, like it kind of keeps on going out. So one person has a conversation because we've had this conversation, and then they have a conversation with 5 people, and they have a conversation with 50 people, and then they have a conversation with 1,500 people, and the ripples just keep on going on. But how wonderful it is that the three of us can connect in this world, that where the allowance is there, we can find each other.
Right.
No
So now this is where the
coincidence.
144,000 comes in. Okay, number one, we know that the 12th iteration of the Fibonacci is 144, right? So we know it's all based on 12s, and that whole beautiful thing, music is, everything's based on the 12s. If you have 144,000 Christ conscious people on earth, it's not much. But that means there's gonna be 4 per small city.
Wow.
And 8 billion. Yes.
4 per small city.
Right. Now look at, we start doing this. Your Christ consciousness is raising. We're all keep learning. Boom.
Yeah.
So we're already aligning with this Phoenix rising. So when people put down Facebook, YouTube, and all that, and censorship and everything else, no, they're delivering your karma. Whatever you're doing is not on your path to go to one love. So you get shut down. However it works out, it's your karma. You have to go towards one love. The collective consciousness is created by spirit, so we can start doing this again. Look at, we're doing it with images. We can see each other again. This is the Akashic. Right. We're delving into the Akashic record, talking to each other so we can get back home.
Yeah. I definitely think, well, I know that many of us who get together on, you know, like Kim and I do, and me and Harry and so on and so forth, you know, though the relationship that we have with each other, although it be only a virtual relationship, is quite often stronger, more powerful than the relationship we have with our own real life friends and family. You know,
because
and a lot of people agree with that.
Because we're holding the hands, because we're the same apple falling the tree. It's not a competition, it's not whatever, but
that's right.
We're falling from the tree first. So we're planting, we're now gonna plant the new seeds. And that's what we're doing. We're planting seeds of love.
Yeah, makes
and
sense.
the amount of people I've talked to lately who want to do podcasts but just haven't done it, or haven't got around to it, or haven't taken that step. And there's like more and more and more people now wanting to jump on board and wanting to share that experience and wanting to do that, you know. It's great.
Well, that was why I started my channel, the Devil's Playground, back in 2020. It lasted 10 months and it got taken down by those lovely people, because, you know, I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm getting all this information, I've got all this knowledge, it's no good unless I share it. So I started a channel, and because of my location at the beginning of 2020, it didn't take long for me to grow to like 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers, because a lot of the bigger channels wanted to interview me because of where I am. But I think, you know, I kind of was putting too much out there that I shouldn't have been putting out there, and it got taken down. So I had to start again with the Devil's Playground #2.
But it also could be what Claudio was saying, which was that it was less in the direction of love than what the Devil's Playground 2 is. Perhaps the Devil's Playground 2 is more
that's spirit doing it.
Love.
It's you doing it to yourself. 100%.
Yeah.
The sooner we realize that everything is going to go that way, the more.
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest and say that a lot of the stuff that I was putting out back on the first channel. I don't want to say it wasn't negative when it comes to the information, but it was how I was dealing with what was happening around, you know, and it happened all around the world.
Well, everybody, yeah.
And you know, and I was saying how terrible it is and how bad it is and so on and so forth. So a lot of the stuff that I was putting out was true, but it was on the more on the negative side of the scales.
Right.
Whereas what I do now, when I come on with Kim or Anne-Marie, Harry, or whatever, we're putting out information, but in a more balanced fashion, if you know what I mean. We're just explaining
that's the right
stuff.
thing to do.
You know, have you seen this and have you seen that? And I, you know, I see something that comes up on my radar, and I'll have that. It might be from a Telegram group or something, and I'll grab a meme or an image or whatever, and I'll put that in the next presentation. So, you know, we try to be a lot more light-hearted, shall I say, on my channel.
Perfect.
Rather, you know, it wasn't so light-hearted on the first one. So
let's face it, it's not easy. But
no,
I'm going
it's
to play the
not.
part. People
It's
say to
not.
me sometimes, "Oh, do you think you're perfect?" No, but I'm striving towards it. Because the writing's on the walls.
The other thing I find is that the more mature I become, the more serious I become, because the less things seem funny, like things that used to feel funny are not funny anymore because I can see through funny. So you end up being really serious about absolutely everything and not laughing at the slapstick stuff that you used to laugh at, because you can now see the harm that it does to people laughing at that stuff.
Right, exactly.
So then you start misinterpreting that as lacking love now, because you can't laugh as much or laugh along with people as much as you used to be able to.
You get it.
It's hard because you're thinking, well, you know, I'm so much more serious than I used to be. I used to be full of fun and full of laughter and full of lightheartedness, and I'm not anymore.
While you're on that topic, Kim, let me give you something to smile about. You don't look like you're going to last very long. Neither do you.
When did you put that up there? Did you put that up there before she went? Oh
no, I got this yesterday. I mean, that's not her anyway. That's not her anyway.
Doesn't look like it.
And it's interesting that this alleged meeting happened on
the day she died, the day before.
No, September the 6th, 9/6, and she died aged 96. It's all a script. It's all bullshit. I thought you'd like that. Give you something to smile about.
I thought you sent me. Did you send me another really funny one yesterday?
Oh, probably. I can't remember. I sent you so much. Kim and I talk on Telegram, not just in the group, but we talk to each other in Telegram.
And we send each other stupid messages and things.
Yeah, and if I find something in a group and I want to hang on to it, I'll send it to Kim. I'll just park it there. You know what I mean? Just park. And then it makes it easier for me to go back and find it later on. So we send each other a lot of stuff, messages and memes and pictures and all kinds of nonsense.
And we also have conversations about words. Like we'll send each other a word like experience or inspire. You know.
Well, you know, one of my favorites, and I was trying to explain this to one of the Chinese English teachers in my school. Look at the word intuition. Now, Claudio, if you want to go and learn how to play the piano, you don't go for piano classes, you go for tuition, right? Always tuition. When it comes from inside, that's your intuition. You're teaching yourself.
Intuition, see that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the key things I think I've learned this month was this perception that we've been taught that God's outside. Right, that kind of God's up there or heaven's up there or it's up there, right? And one of the key things I've learned this month is rather than it being out there, it's in here.
Right.
So if I'm directing a question or singing praise, I'm trying to less externalize it. This is in my mind. This is reprogramming myself.
Yes.
I'm trying to internalize it more. So when I'm saying thank you, I'm actually thanking myself. And that sounds a bit egotistical, but
No,
I
I do
don't
it
mean
all
it
the
that
time.
way.
No, it's not, because
do it.
we're one.
I do it all
Right.
the time.
We're one.
Yeah.
We're one.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
you
all
know,
one.
you've
It's
got
okay to do that.
Yeah.
you've got the Jesus character from the Bible who is attributed to saying, "Know ye not, ye are gods?
Right.
Don't you know you are gods?" I
That's
mean,
right.
it's right there in the bloody Bible.
Right.
You know.
So
But that doesn't mean that we gods in the way that we
No.
need to be worshipped, or
Or we're
all
controlling
all
anything.
that's bullshit. Yeah.
It's the control. And if you spell control, CUNTROL,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, right. Try and control me, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
if I'm trying to control something else, it's wrong. It's incorrect.
there's that old saying that, once we had empires ruled by emperors, we had kingdoms ruled by kings, and now we have countries.
yeah, but that
I like
the
that.
etymology of that word means queen.
What countries?
No,
Really?
CUNT. See you next Tuesday.
Oh yeah. See you next
CUNT
Tuesday.
means queen, means
Queen.
divine feminine. But that's
Okay.
why it took on such a negative connotation, just like Eris, the goddess of discord and strife. Again, 7 scorpions of Isis, because we get
Yeah.
cleansed when she comes.
It's all
So-
been about degrading or dethroning the divine feminine.
And she's
again,
back.
yeah. I mean,
So
how
now-
many times have we talked about this? Where you had that back in the 60s, 70s, women should get back in the kitchen where you belong, kind of thing. Which is just, it's horrible. I mean, when you think about it, women are quote unquote divine. They're life bringers. You can't have a baby, Claudio. I can't have a baby. Kim can.
You sure?
Yeah, she needs
Are you sure?
one of
61, yeah, exactly.
No. I'm saying,
no,
are
no.
you sure? The dung beetle does.
Well,
it's funny because we
how
just
do we
talked about
get-
immaculate conception. I had somebody reach out to me in their charts. This is the way things are happening now.
Mhm.
She had all the makings of immaculate conception, but because that making
Right.
was there, that both planets were in retrograde. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And it's absolutely divine. So the dung beetle, that's why you show the dung beetle on the Egyptian walls. He's holding up the sun. The dung beetle is the scarab beetle, right?
Yeah.
There's only male.
Yeah.
There's only male scarab beetles. How do they
wow.
exist? They manifest one, immaculate conception. They just
Wow.
roll dung a certain way in an alignment with a ley line, who the hell knows? And then out comes a sun.
Wow.
You're showing us immaculate conception. The dung beetle is about immaculate conception. We're going back to that. We have to lose all the sexuality, that whole side of us goes away.
Yeah, because it's dualistic, and we've got to let go of the dualistic.
We got to go in
conceptualization.
timing. We got to go in timing with the universe.
Mm.
See, here's what happens when
Acceptance.
Eris comes back. Okay, so the Nile River floods every year around July 21st. Okay, that's the heliacal rising of Sirius and the sun. Eris, she goes retrograde back and forth almost every 6 months. When she comes towards a Phoenix rising, she aligns with the River Nile. When she goes retrograde, the River Nile floods. It's the period of the earth.
Wow.
So she's in alignment now with Sirius. That's why they say the Eris. And so the physical sun is there, but your spiritual sun is Sirius.
Wow.
That's why Sirius, when before precession, Sirius lines up with the domain of Horus, the bottom of the chart, the winter solstice, born on the cross.
There has to be a hidden meaning. You remember that tennis player from a few decades ago, John McEnroe, would always, every time he played a match, he would always shout at the judge, "You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious." It was his tagline. I wonder what it really meant. I wonder what he really meant when he was saying to the judge, "You cannot be serious." Yeah. Yeah. It was famous all over the world.
He might be saying, "I'm serious. I should go do his chart. He's probably got some alignments with Sirius."
But it would be worth having a look. John McEnroe was his name. It might be worth having.
Yeah,
a
no,
look
I know
at
who he
his,
is. I remember him.
yeah.
He was quite the theatrical tennis player.
Yeah, yeah. But he was always saying you cannot be serious.
Right.
And and I'm like, there's got to be a double meaning in that. There has to be.
All right, one more quick thing about in the Bible. If you want to, because the Bible's an astrology book, bar none.
Yeah.
The etymology of the word Lord
Mhm.
is divine feminine.
Really?
Yes. So if you bring that back, you'll go, it becomes what it got mistranslated. I'm going to go backwards to where the root was. The Hebrew called it woman. In Prakrit, it was Isha. There you go. The I, the S for Isis, you got the H, and you got the Alpha, Isha. So it's all about Phoenix Rising, whatever. But Isha means divine feminine, which means Lord.
Wow.
So when you go read the Bible and you start putting in the divine feminine in Revelation, oh man, it fits beautiful. So does the whole rest of the thing, the story, because now you got to take Jesus as you, which is Horus, which is your life, and how you're supposed to be that prophet, that prophecy. You are the chosen one. Kim, you're a chosen one. Nigel, you're the chosen one. You are the chosen one. You are the one that's going to sit on that throne.
But everybody is.
Right.
Everybody.
Right. As soon as they come into that revelation that they are the chosen one for their own world, they control their own world. You are a field. You are a field within a big field, an egg within an egg.
So I love the idea of aligning with the Wizard of Oz in order to perceive that. Because if you look at the Wizard of Oz and the story of the Wizard of Oz, she gets whirled into this place. She's following a yellow brick road, which is essentially the road of gold. So she's following the money to a materialistic place.
Right.
She gets told that the wizard can get her out of here. And all she needs is courage, wisdom, and strength. Courage, wisdom, and love to get through it. And eventually she gets to the magician, pulls back the curtain and discovers that all of it was a gigantic lie or gigantic illusion. And then she gets to go home.
Right.
So I think we're all Dorothy. I think everybody's Dorothy. And if only we could revert to that, to which of these three do I need at this moment? Do I need courage? Do I need wisdom? Do I need love?
Right.
Which do I need?
I think to an extent we need all three. You know.
Absolutely.
Well, love. It all boils down to love.
It does.
Because if you do the love, you get the strength. You get the courage. You get it. You get it all. It's the way.
But like I said to you before, you can't always find the love because love has been so misconstrued, and you know, people say, oh well, love means that I love you, and I don't really. You know.
No, but see, that's right. So, but love is synonymous with the ether in physics.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go take a magnet, you put it underneath the ferrocell, you'll see it's a little light thing there that shows you the field. You'll see the black hole in the middle. Okay. The Madonna, the Italians carry around, a lot of people around the world, they got the Madonna and the baby, they're black.
Yeah.
Just like the Wizard of Oz. The one on the broom is the winged woman in the sky, is Isis, it's Madonna.
Yeah.
She's the evil one because she wants to cleanse you.
Yeah.
But
and
she
bring
wanted
it
to
to
go
you.
back. So now the white witch, which represents the color of the rainbow in Manifest, that's Juno. There's both Marys are there. So Mary Magdalene is the white one. She's in white. She's, you know, it's kind of, it's backwards because when we're in Manifest, we're in lack of love. Because if you're pure, you're black. So there's a misunderstanding of the dark side. No, this light is lack of love. So we're learning how to deal with this light and not to manifest in the wrong way materialistically while we get this experience.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that Honopuna Una, that goes into that too. Goes into the fact that they looked at the night as being a time for revelation, that it wasn't possible for us to have revelation during the day because it's already light. It's already, you know, so it needs to get dark in order for us to experience light because we can't experience light during the day.
Right.
So the darkness is where we have the revelation. The night is essential. The dark is essential. The misery is essential. Otherwise, we will never experience the light.
Right. Well, that's the price we pay for staying on the wheel. So you can stay on the wheel as long as you want. We're going into age of Aquarius. Things are going to be beautiful. You're going to want to stay. Okay. Because we still have the lack of bravery of what's on the other side. Maybe I'm not going to come back. So we still have that innate in us. So we can stay on and it's going to be beautiful. But the risk is to go past that Aryan age back into the Piscean age where we think we're king and we're just manifesting everything. But if you stay on the wheel, you're going back into Piscean age and we start over this exact same 2000 year of experience of they and this and everything else, not realizing, but we might say, that's okay. No, I'm going to be fine. And we jump in, right? And we go for another round.
Do you really think it's going to come down to individual choice though?
I would say yeah, because they can't force us to do anything. They can only coerce us. They can only blackmail us.
I need you to expand on that question because I'm not really understanding it.
You said we're going to be moving into the age of Aquarius, the age of love, the age of So you get to that crossover point. And do you think there's going to be any personal choice involved in that? I mean, what you said basically earlier was if you haven't done the work, then
you're coming back. Well, we're coming back, but it's how much karma do you want to carry with you, right?
Yeah, it's the level.
But at the same time, the age of Aquarius, karma disappears. Not good karma disappears. It's relieving of the karmic debt, relieving of the sin waves, the sine waves. We just start become loving. That sun gets that ash that makes it just blue. So now we're in bliss. And we just stay on. However long we live, the age that, there's all kinds of theories of that the ages get longer. You can stay, you can reincarnate in body, you know what I'm saying? So
it's interesting that the word karma, K-A-R or K-H-A-R-M-A, is the same pronunciation as to keep karma, C-A-L-M-E-R. You know what I mean? Keep calm.
Keep your karma at bay, yes.
Yeah, keep your karma. Yeah. There's no coincidences in this world. Those words sound the same because they're supposed to sound the same.
Right.
So also you were talking about the red shift, blue shift thing. And I at one stage got into this concept that we're on a pendulum and the pendulum swings one way towards the divine feminine, one way towards the divine masculine, and then back again. So the reality switches between the two. So in one era, it's controlled by the masculine, and the second era, it's controlled by the feminine, basically controlled. And that in the first half of that phase, it's imbalanced and it's beautiful.
It's going to grab a drink.
The second half of that phase, it becomes imbalanced, and then it becomes uncomfortable. And then it becomes so uncomfortable that it actually goes to that shift, and it becomes, again, red shift, blue shift, red shift, blue. So I'm not sure about this because it was just like me working. Sometimes my brain goes in certain different ways and thinks about certain different things, but I didn't know about that red shift, blue shift actually aligns with the masculine and the feminine. And it could be because what you were talking about before with the men becoming pregnant, I mean, there's all this.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try that.
Well, I didn't say men becoming pregnant. I'm saying that we can be like the dung beetle. I don't know if I'm not going to roll.
All you're going to do is you guys, after we've finished here, go around and roll around in a load of shit, right?
And and a mini and a mini Nigel will pop out. Yeah. Wow.
You two try it. All right.
I pass.
Okay. So these things have been shown to us at the moment, like Ken getting pregnant or something like that, and everybody's going and going, "Oh my God, this is ridiculous!" Like Ken dolls, pregnant, selling them in the supermarket, in a box, But what you're actually saying is, if we were to come back to do that shift and get rid of the duality aspect then there would be no difference. There would be no separation between the masculine and the feminine. We wouldn't have this state in our mind of you're different than me, you know.
Right.
You've got a phallus and I've not, you know, that makes you stronger. You can dominate me. I mean, I have loads of experience of being around women who are completely dominated by the male aspect. And I'm not talking about the phallus here. I'm just talking about that if a man speaks, women shut up.
All by design.
And the thing is that a lot of women would argue with that with me and say to me, no, don't be ridiculous. You know, this is 2022. That doesn't happen now. There's a great deal of people around me still have that. And it's very inherent. It's very deep within us. I do it.
Wow.
A man speaks, I shut up. Sometimes I don't even agree with what he said, but I shut up anyway.
Wow.
That's a secret.
It's all going to change, right? I mean, the masculine and the feminine, see, we say positive, but positive is in manifest, out. So there's only two dimensions, in and out. The rest is all confusion, muddy waters, made by man. Okay, because the field comes out this way and goes, okay.
What's that?
The male.
What's that?
Male carrying a baby.
See that, right? It says, this is the Daily Mail, taxpayers foot
Daily
the
Mail.
bill. Yeah, taxpayers foot the bill as government spends nearly £3 million on controversial research into problems of pregnant men.
And everybody would be outraged by that. But like you're saying, Claudio.
Yeah, I don't think men themselves are going to have babies like that. No, that's all going to change because that's just playing with Mother Nature. But
yeah,
immaculate conceptions have always happened. There's going to be a lot of men that didn't believe their wives because their chart says they're going to have a baby. If she wanted to have a baby, she's going to have a baby without the physical aspect of it because it comes from the stars. So that immaculate conception, right? And the way this whole thing came to yesterday, 3 different people, 3 different conversations, all said different words that had to manifest when I did this girl's chart. It was crazy aligned. It was like, wow. Yeah, oh yeah. And then it happens at like, you know how Venus was aligned there for when we started this conversation? The black moon, which brings, that's the mother's, that's Eris's, that's Isis's black node for deep spiritual science. It was right. I went and looked, I go, oh my God, the black moon's rising. It's a Phoenix rising position, right? And I knew something special was going to happen. And I told her, because my black moon is aligned with the north and south node. I didn't realize that that's why I get a lot of these deep spiritual signs. It's beautiful, but everybody gets to have them. Because everything around you is a sign.
I guess your chart and my chart are not going to be that drastically different, are they? Because we're only 2 days apart.
But
yeah,
karmic lives is the house system. The cardinal points and the house system rely on the time. So we can be totally different based on the time.
Oh, right. Okay.
What's going to be the same is Pluto, Eris, you know, but Pluto might have came out of retrograde in the second day on October the 2nd. I'm just making shit up, right? Yeah. So, right. So we can be totally different people, but great same qualities. Look at us. We're both researching, right? So is she. We're all researching there. We're all and we're on this common denominator thing here right now, of course.
So Claudio, one of the things about Nigel is he's not sure what time he was born.
We can find that. You see, the cardinal, there's a reason why it's called cardinal points. The animals will tell you when to look up, when to look at the chart. Like I've had many animals, including cardinals, come and tell me, boom, boom, come fly up against the window, like 3-4 times with their wings. I know what that means. Wow. Go look at the cardinal points because they pass, because there's 4 points, right? The MC, the IC, medium coeli, imam coeli. Coeli means where spirit resides. So you're going to get boom. And then you got the ascendant and descendant. That's the 4 points of the cross. Now, depending where you live, the MC and the IC, they shift based on time. Okay. So now when you go look that happened, you get a real big spiritual sign marked on the date and time. We'll find your birth time. Because it's the fastest move. Those are the fastest moving things that, I mean, it's fastest aspects that show up. They only last for 7 to 10 minutes,
Mhm.
you know, for a couple of degree orbs. So we can find his time.
Okay.
If you bump one of your extremities, mark it down. So as we'll start, then you start going, okay, because I know what certain type of things can mean something, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes,
Wow.
I've done
Nigel would
mine.
be-
I didn't know my
Nigel would be
time of
very good
birth. I got
about
it down.
Really?
And now when I get these amazing signs, there it is in my chart. For example, we're in our trailer there, motorhome. And we're sitting there and we're just setting up because we're on our way home. Because we spent 3 years in Florida, being close to the grandkids and my daughter and son-in-law. And while we're setting up, there's this great big bee. I mean, it was freaking like that.
Mhm.
It was some kind of huge queen bee. And it was flying all around us. Me and Catherine are like, we're calm because we're trying to be one with nature. And it's just there saying hello. Well, we go back and we sit on each one have us our little couch thing there. And she's on one window and I'm on another. And that thing is bouncing off of Kathy's window, off the screen, bouncing off of it. Next thing you know, it's in. Nobody went out. It's in. We have no holes. It's in the motorhome.
Wow.
What?
Right. Before it came in the motorhome, I kinked my back. So that's why I was lying down on the couch. And then Kathy came and joined on the other couch. This bee thing happens, this happens there. The bee comes down beside me, flips over on its back and starts going bzz, 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 right? So I kind of just move my coffee table over a little bit so I can grab onto it, lifts up, and I knew right away to open my window and she flies out. I was on my back for 3 days.
Wow.
So she's telling me,
Wow.
I went and looked at my chart and right there is the black moon lined up with the medium coeli where spirit resides.
Can I just Nigel actually did a podcast on this about two or 3 months ago. Do you remember the fly? Do you remember
Go
the
on,
fly
remind
that
me.
was outside? You had a fly on your window.
Yeah.
And it came in
Yeah.
the house and there was no
Yeah.
windows open.
No, and every window has a fly screen.
And you did a podcast on it. You were talking about this fly was on the outside of the window and you thought it was on the inside. And then you walked over and you put a glass over it or something. And then it was in the glass or something. It moved through the space.
Yeah.
So if you could find the date that happened, would that help him find the time he was born? If he could find the date of that video.
If you have a date, a time. We need a time.
Right. Okay.
To find his birth time, right. Let me
But
give you
just-
another
I'll
one,
pay it
cardinal
to-
point. Okay, that
just-
happened lots of times. So I'm
Just
there. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
watch out for stuff like that, Nigel. Watch out for
Yes.
cardinal points. And then if something like that happens, write the time down.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So another time.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
keep
watching-
my eye out.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll keep my eye out. I'll pay attention. I'll pay more attention to something like that when it happens again. Yeah.
Okay.
So
another time, what
go on.
happened?
So we're sitting there in the motorhome and I forget what happened. Oh no, a grackle landed on the mirror and he's already been training me. And Kathy's going, well, no, he's looking at himself in the mirror. I'm going, yeah, but look at these alignments. He's done it every time when there's something overhead, exactly with the MC. This is, like I said, it's only like a 7-minute time span, right? You have to have the exact location you're in because that MC changes by location. So he trained me. And then one day he comes and he lands on top of the mirror and does that, looking straight up. I go look, and there is.
What was it, a Draco?
Grackle. Grackle is like a blackbird.
A blackbird.
Grackle.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And he's looking up like this. So I go look and it's Eris, Isis, Madonna, whatever you want to call her. And she's aligned the MC. So I grab my Waz stick. That's that Bennu bird looking thing because I made one. right? Because somebody gifted me with that without even knowing. So I go
Wow.
outside, I sit down in a little folding chair that was there, perfectly clear sky, one little cloud comes by, rains on me
Uh-huh.
as I'm talking to the Madonna,
Uh-huh.
and she's aligned with the midheaven. These are the things you can expect. It's absolutely invigorating. Now, everything that's on the Egyptian walls, everything that's happening to us is a reality. You'll start seeing that. You start revealing that. You want that to open up more? You got to use love in every situation. You got to realize that every vibration out there is yours. And that everybody else, when you're seeing that stuff, whatever those images are, that's somebody else getting their karma. You got to pray for them. And the way to pray for them is imagine them in a good image. To erase that image, you're changing your world. Don't let any of those other images come in. If you see an image that you didn't like, replay that image. It's your world. Squash those vibrations. Images are way stronger than words.
Yeah.
Because when we say a word, we have to form an image.
Yeah.
So don't
Kim,
say a
you and
word.
I were
No,
talking
don't
about
spread
that.
Yeah, don't spread any viruses, right? Don't spread any images that aren't good, because those are viruses. You're now vibrating the waters, your own karma. So when you share an image that's not good, you're vibrating the waters, your world.
Kim, you and I were talking about that only a couple of days ago, weren't we? About images being more powerful than words. Remember?
Well, I was also talking about with that D. Murphy channel as well, and that navigating the matrix. That's what he was talking about. He's talking about how much language can be expressed in emojis. It's just like coming around again. It's like communicating in images.
Right, and make them positive and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I'd just like to say is the amount of awareness that comes in relation to the amount of your conversation that might be negative and lack of love. You might just be describing something that's in your reality.
You're creating it too. You're giving it life. You're making it stay.
Yeah.
It's your world.
Yeah, it's your world. And all of these things, I mean, I might go to one friend and complain about something, and it isn't bad. I mean, I'm not talking about other people or anything like that. I might just be complaining about the fact that the grass is growing too much recently, and I'm having to mow the lawn lots or something. It might just be that sort of a complaint, you know. But I'm trying as much as possible to take that out because of this concept that the words are vocabulary, which are spells, and I'm creating it. So I'm trying to, and it's like hard work, because you got to say something and you stop, and you got to say something and you think, no, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say something.
You're stepping outside yourself.
Yeah.
If we can
Don't
step
forget.
out and watch this conversation and
Yeah.
filter the words we're about to use.
Yeah.
In the beginning,
I'm probably about a 90% now on my words always being in a loving way.
Yeah. I'm not that,
because I don't want anybody to form an
70.
image. Because if I'm vibrating their waters, it's my waters too. So if I'm letting them form an image that's not good, it's not. That karma comes back my way.
And it's a wave. So you could be saying something that somebody else is repeating, that 3 people are repeating, that 5 people. It's a wave.
The best analogy I can give is put yourself in one of those little kiddie pools, you know, those 2-foot pools. You put yourself in the middle, slap the waters. What happens to the waters? It goes that way, hits the wall, comes back and hits you. It's no different with lives. It's no different. It's a wave. You're right. You're absolutely right.
In the beginning was the word. Words are powerful. I mean, they say words can cut you, don't they? The pen is mightier than the sword. All these cliches, you know, they've all got truth in them. They've all got truth in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So if we can all start communicating in images instead. So we'll just come on here and we'll just like hold the book up and go like that, you know.
That's right.
Show a picture.
Well,
so you go off and draw pictures.
But look how powerful memes have become in the last 2 or 3 years, right? And how do you spell the word meme? Me, M-E-M-E, me, right? They have become so powerful, you know, on social media and on the internet, etc. They become so powerful over the last certainly 2 or 3 years, that literally backs up everything that Claudio's and
Exactly.
and Dave.
And what is it? An image with very few words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Can you give me an
sometimes, if you can make a
example?
meme that needs no words, that's the perfect one.
Yeah.
Give me an example of a meme that's become powerful.
No, I'm saying memes themselves
I know,
have become
but
a powerful
just-
way of communicating.
Just give me an example of one meme that's become powerful.
You got a girl. I've got it somewhere, but it would take me ages to find it.
Okay.
At the beginning of the, like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
nearly 3 years ago, and she's standing there with a cigarette, right? And she's been called a conspiracy theorist for years, and she's got this cigarette and she's just looking and she's going, I fucking told you. Big smile on her face. I fucking told you so. Yeah. I mean, and that cracks me up every time I see it, because I know many people have undergone what I'm about to tell you, but all my friends who I thought were friends, my brother, none of them talk to me anymore, because I was a conspiracy theorist, and now I'm that girl. Basically, I fucking told you. You know what I mean?
Right. But we got to say in a loving way, hey, I was just trying to give you some loving truth.
Yeah.
I still love you, right?
Yeah.
And they will come back. They will come back. That's all. It's
eventually.
not a race. Yeah.
But a lot of them won't, because of their egos, because they would feel like they have to say sorry, sorry for the way I treated you, and and you were right all along, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people are still very egotistical. So many of them won't put themselves in that position where they've got to apologize, or feel like they've got to apologize. But it's the way I look at it, it's their loss. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. If you don't want to talk to me, fine. See ya. Doesn't bother me at all. And I think a lot of people feel the same.
Okay, yeah, it's the middle of the night for you, Claudio, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh God, yeah. I
my
forget about
wife's
that.
probably trying to get to sleep, and it's on the other side of this wall. So
okay, all right. Well, you
love to do this again, though, man.
Oh, that was great.
Kim, it was
I loved
awesome.
it. I loved it. I
Pleasure
didn't
as
record
always.
it, so I'll have to get it off you. But we can talk about that afterwards anyway. But that was great.
Cool.
It was absolutely fantastic, Claudio. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wise words.
Well, let's end the recording here, and we'll deal with it later. Claudio, if you got to go, just leave, and because me and Kim will probably continue chatting. It's safe just coming out of this one and going back into mine.
Okay.